Hey, business building warrior, welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I just finished up an interview. It's a longer episode, but we packed so much in with a great young couple with a beautiful family. They got 4 kids. He works full time. She's squeezing her Amazon business into the cracks of their busy schedule, and they've built something pretty incredible. Now, it's not one of these massive success stories. In fact, their most recent month, they sold about 20,000 at a 25% net profit margin using the Amazon REPLENS strategy that you've heard on hundreds of recent episodes around here. Of course, I'm talking about the proven Amazon course training that we teach. They got a coach as well. They were at our live event last year as well. They're coming to the August event coming up August 12th through 14th in Louisville, Kentucky. They're going to be there as well. We talk about all of that. But when we did the math at one point, I need to point this out. I did it real quick in my head. I was off a little bit. I thought she had around I think I told her a $70 or $80 an hour net profit. No, it's about $60 an hour net profit. I did the math wrong in my head. So at that part of the show, I apologize. But just running the numbers, they've built an incredible business that they're able to squeeze into the cracks of their busy schedule. And I'm so proud of them. I just love hanging out with families like this that are figuring out a way to be the spouse that God's called them to be the parents that they want to be, and to build an incredible financial future for their family. And they see their future in this opportunity, in this community. They keep talking about just all the great friends that they've met, the connections that they've made in this community, and how valuable that is to them. We spend a significant amount of time talking about some of the books that they love, some of the recommended books that I gave them and they gave me as a good part of the show as well. So let's see what else. Oh, the Proven REPLENS VA program. They talk about that as well. And I love their transparency on both the topic of their coach and the other service they bought from us, getting a virtual assistant. They were very transparent. Hey, the first virtual assistant that we set them up with wasn't working out real well. So we brought another one and now it's going great. And they spoke in very glowing terms of the relationship they've built and the value that this virtual assistant has brought to their business. Of course, I'm talking about the Proven REPLENS VA program. There'll be a link at the show notes at silentjim.com to that. We've helped a couple hundred people at this point as I'm recording with that business model of training a virtual assistant who works only for you, which is very important and significant. They're not working for a bunch of other sellers and selling all the same details and resources to all of their clients. They're working for one seller. And in this case, this couple has really fallen in love with the seller that they're working with. So I'm going to bring on Tambra and Kelton Hansen in just a moment. They're going to jump on the line with me. One last thing, I mentioned the coaching. They love the coaching program. We talk about details with that and have very glowing things to say about the coach that they were assigned in our coaching program. You can go to jimcockramcoaching.com if you want details on that. Of course, links in the show notes, silentjim.com. And just enjoy this episode. We kind of wander from topic to topic, but I think it's going to be a lot of really good nuggets. If you're new or if you've been around a while, there's something in here for everyone. Enjoy this episode. Let's get them on the line right now. So welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, how are you?
I'm blessed. Great to see you. Looking good, sounding good. Hey, I'm ready to jump right into your story, Kelton. How about we just go?
Yeah, sure. We hadn't had a lot of online selling experience prior to Amazon and prior to jumping into the Silent Sales Machine community. We're always on the lookout for something to add to our income. But we're a little different than some of the stories that we've some of the podcasts that we've listened to where somebody has jumped in and tried with one program and they spent thousands of dollars. This community was the first one we ever got into. So, where we kind of got into it, like I'm a big podcast listener. And I was actually listening to a different podcast where you were the guest. It was Kurt Mortensen. Yeah. Gotcha. Influence University or something like that. But
that's been a while back.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. And I thought, well, there's something to this guy. And, you brought up the podcast and so I got digging into that and listened for a couple days and brought it home to my wife. And said, hey, there's something to this. And she kind of like, well, what are we going to sell? Like just stuff that's on our shelves. Like, what is this?
Yeah, I was like, I don't have anything to sell and I don't want to sell anything. I'm not a salesman. And then he made me listen to the podcast because I think at the time weren't you listening to Jim's book? I think you had started listening to Jim's book, and then, yeah, he's like, well, listen to a couple podcast episodes, and
I think
that was it.
Mostly it was the podcast, and I was like, there's something to this, and, low entry fee, and so that's where we started, was just with the podcast itself.
And about when would this have been approximately?
Like November of 2020.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the beginning of November.
Okay, so a year and a half or so ago is when you kind of started to dip your toe in the water a little bit. All right, so what'd you guys do next as you started to become convinced? You weren't sure what you're going to sell, but you were interested in the concept. What happened next?
Well, over the next couple of weeks, it was probably early to mid-November of 2020 that we started listening, and then it was every single day. And it was like, I would shoot her a link. Hey, have you listened to this one? And she'd shoot me something. Have you listened to this one? And and we listened to quite a few over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, we got hooked fast for sure. And then we just signed up, we signed up, and at the time you had the REPLENS course. And so that's what we got first, was the REPLENS course, and signed up for Amazon, and right after we did that, we signed up for Keepa,
Yeah,
so
the important tools.
Yeah, so we did that, and while we were waiting to get approved for Amazon, we had finished the REPLENS course, the 0 to 10,000, and then we just started searching. We started going to stores. We had no idea what we were doing, but we were searching, and we were digging into Keepa, and we found some great winners, like some really good winners to test out. So
and that's like some of our first experiences. We went to a store and we bought up like a whole bunch of this product. And were we even approved to sell yet?
No,
not yet. We bought up a bunch of a specific food item, not knowing that we would be gated in specific products. And so, it looked good on Keepa, and the numbers made sense and everything. And we get approved to sell. We're like, cool, let's get this thing listed. And come to find out, grocery was one of the first things that we picked up. Couldn't sell it.
We couldn't.
A little frustrating way to start, but kind of learning through trial and error. How much of that first product did you buy?
Like $200, probably.
Yeah, it was
enough to feel the pain. What'd you end up doing with it?
Well, Christmas was coming.
Oh, everybody got got a jar of pickles for Christmas. Okay.
Yeah, lots of pickles.
No, I actually think it was kind of a seasonal item anyway. And so, we're getting with family. Hey, here's your Christmas present from our family this year.
So the secret's out now. If any of them watch the show, they're going to be like, that's why we got that. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty fun to learn, the hard way. Because like I said, we had got that before we were even approved for Amazon to sell. We're still waiting. But we jumped and we learned. But, come the following year, we sold a lot of that item. So last December, it was great. Keepa knew what's up. It was great. And it sold. And
it was both FBA and FBM. We couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. You were selling at both Merchant Fulfill, FBM, you said, and FBA. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's one of the first products you found. And from a local store shelf, too. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Which obviously, that's not the only way to source. I remember reading in the bio before we got started, you guys are wanting to get more into online sourcing, but you started out just hitting some local stores and finding REPLENS, using the strategies. And you said you weren't even approved to sell on Amazon yet. I want to make sure people understand what that means. It can take 2 to 4 or 5 weeks sometimes for Amazon to get you approved as a seller, because they're very picky about making sure that you are who you say you are, you live where you say you live, you're a real person. That takes some time. It used to be a much faster process. Now it's a little slower. So we do have students like you guys who jump in, get educated, get rocking, get started. They're finding profitable inventory, but they don't have their account yet. We run into that quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, for all the new people who are still waiting for their account to get approved, make sure, just hold off a little bit, just do your research and
don't buy anything yet. Don't buy any inventory yet, right?
Yeah,
do your
don't buy
research,
anything
but
yet.
wait. Yeah, but there's actually an interesting lesson here too. How long did it take you guys to get approved in grocery and to navigate that hurdle once you were approved? And not that grocery is where you have to go first, but that's where
Yeah.
you found your first replen.
Yep. I want to say maybe, how long do you think? 2-3 months?
Yeah, I mean, as we started to, obviously we got approved for an account. And as we started selling some things, it didn't take very long for, items in this specific category to get ungated, and then the next one, and then the next one. And I mean, it went pretty fast as they saw that we were somebody that was serious about selling, and we were sending stuff in, and we were, we did it all the right way. We appeased what Amazon wanted from us when they requested it.
Yep. It can happen very quickly. And then those gates just start flying open. And 90% of what you request to be ungated in, it just right in the app, you're ungated instantly.
Yep.
So you can get to that point fairly quickly, but there is that period of frustration of getting your account set up and then, I'm gated and everything. Well, sell 20 or 30 items and you won't be, it becomes a lot easier, but there is that period of frustration that all new sellers go through. I'm glad you guys reminded. We haven't talked about that in a long time. So a long time since I was there for sure. So I'm glad you guys brought that up. All right. So you started dipping your toe in the water. You started selling some things. Tell us about some of your first wins, some of the things you did find and sell that worked out well.
Yeah.
How'd you find them? And what were you looking for on Keepa? You mentioned Keepa. How did you use that tool? And just talk us through some of that.
Right. Well, we had gone on multiple date nights, I guess, where we go to a store and she's at one end of the store and I'm at the other end of the store. And I remember walking, I had found something on the shelf. I'm looking through Keepa and I'm looking through the spikes and in the sale or drops in the sales category, just on my phone, on the apps, and making sure that we're not gated in this specific thing and the numbers looked good. I didn't even know what it was. It was a top shelf item. I had never seen it. It was a product that I never would have purchased myself.
Of course.
But it was amazing. And I was ecstatic. I walked over to the other end of the store and she was a little frustrated because she was looking at things and she can't find anything. And here I come with a cart full of these things just bebopping.
So happy and I was so irritated.
So it was a great date for Kelton and a frustrating date for Tambra. I got you. Okay. That's great.
Walked up and I'm like, all right, well, this is good.
Yeah, and actually, it's that specific ASIN on Amazon has taken some hits, but that was a year plus ago that we found it. And, people have come and gone from the listing, and it's still a winner for us. One of the first things we found is still a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Like our best seller every single month, every month.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
And I would say that's fairly unusual, but not surprising. I would say for every 10 or 20 ASINs you find, one of them is going to be one of your long-term winners.
Yeah.
And the others over time are going to drift and probably, rise and fall. But one of them is just going to be that, goose that keeps laying golden eggs. And you found that right out of the gate. That's awesome.
It's beautiful. We have taken some hits with it, not like hits, but you always say, don't fall in love with the product. Don't, which we kind of did. We fell in love with that one for sure. But the first listing that we were on with it started to tank like pretty fast. And so we wound up pulling them back. I think we had, I don't know, I want to say 25, probably about 25 in stock. And we recalled them, got them home. And he had found another listing, another ASIN for that product that was beautiful. So we
That's
got
a
them all
great
back.
lesson.
Yeah,
Yeah,
send them
yeah.
back in. Yeah.
So do you sell on both ASINs now, or?
We sell on, I think we still sell on the original one. It's kind of gotten flooded with quite a few sellers, but there's two other ones that are, decent price, low 4 to 5 sellers, and it's almost the same product. And we've actually created our own bundles as well with that product with a matching item that really complements it.
Mhm.
That's fantastic. And there's a great lesson there for the listeners right now. People may not understand, especially if they're new to the Replen model, what it is we just said. You're not looking for great products. You're looking for great ASINs. And initially, we talked about this great product that you guys found. Well, the reason it was a great product was because it was tied to an ASIN that looked really good on the software tool Keepa that we talk about all the time. Go listen to podcast episode 369 if you don't know what I just said about Keepa. That episode will straighten you out. It's a tool we love. It costs about $20 a month. So it looked good on Keepa. But that particular ASIN started not looking so great. Other sellers came along. The price kind of dropped into unprofitable territory. So what you guys did is you looked for other ASINs where that same product was being sold on Amazon. I think as a shopper, sometimes we just assume that there's only one listing for each product that we buy on Amazon, but that's not the case. Sometimes there's 2, 3, 5, 20, 50, 80 different ways to buy the exact same product on different listings. It's not quite as challenging as eBay, where there's 3,000 listings for every product, but quite often there's far more than 1, 2, or 3. So you found another ASIN or two where this same exact product was selling. So you're selling it on separate listings besides the one you originally started with, quite profitably, it sounds like. It's getting a little less attention. It's a little off the beaten path. It's on page 2 or 3 or whatever of the search results, but people are finding it and they're buying it from you.
Yeah.
It's profitable. What's the price point on the product? Just give us a rough, on this particular ASIN.
So we buy it for almost $11 and we sell it for almost 33.
Yeah, that's great. Making
Yeah,
10, $12 a sale, something like that net.
Yep.
That's
almost
awesome.
$12 profit, and it's super easy to package. And the only issue is we can't find enough. That's our only issue.
Right. And that's just one of your ASINs, right?
Yep.
Happened to be one of the first ones you found.
Yep.
How many times a week is it selling for you on average right now?
As soon as it hits Amazon's warehouse, it's sold.
It's going. How many drops is that on Keepa? Offhand.
Yeah, I want to say about 80-ish on Keepa.
Okay, so it's pretty hot.
Yeah. All of the ASINs with it, they're all hot droppers.
Man, I love this topic too, guys. I want to spend a little bit of time here because we've had some people frustrated lately looking for some of those first wins, and we're getting some good lessons in here. So we've got 3 ASINs we've talked about so far for the exact same product. I'm assuming on that first ASIN, the one that has dozens of sellers at this point.
Yeah.
How many drops does it show, and how many reviews and that sort of thing? Talk us through. I'm assuming that one's like smoking hot, bunch of sellers playing for 50 cents a sale, a net, right? So that one's kind of gotten burnt out, but it's hot. It's super hot there, right? How many drops? Do you happen to know?
I'm not entirely sure on that one. It's a lot. I know it's a lot.
It's a lot more than the ASIN you're selling it against now, I'm assuming.
I mean, they're pretty popular.
I would say it's pretty comparable, to be honest. Yeah, it's pretty comparable. I would say it's pretty comparable without looking at it. But
yeah, that's okay. I'm talking, the example I'm trying to think through is there's more than one ASIN. So a lot of times these super hot products, like this products that are ranked in the top 1 or 2,000 of the category, whatever, there's stuff that's just selling multiple times daily with a bunch of sellers. If you look for less popular ASINs, slightly less popular ASINs even, man, there's so much opportunity there.
Yeah, there is.
That's just a great tip. And you guys have kind of organically done that, and you've been rewarded for it.
Yeah, we really didn't want to let it go. So, we kept.
Well, you still may have to, let me just give you a little advanced counseling.
Eventually.
Well, and that's the thing, like, don't fall in love with the ASIN. And when it started, the first one started to tank, and it got filled up with sellers, and the price was coming down to that point that you were talking, like maybe making 50 cents, probably at a loss. I was so disappointed, and that's what got me into like, well, what can we do? And we, like she said, we pulled them back and we found somewhere else to put them. And so, yeah, that's, you can say don't fall in love with it, but even us after a year,
you get that emotional tie. We've all been there, but you learn over time. Every new ASIN you find, you don't know if it's going to live with you for years or if it's going to be a 3-week get in, get out, make $100. You just don't know.
Yeah.
But the great thing is, and maybe we can start to transition to this, is you can go find more anytime you want.
Oh yeah.
And there's dozens of ways to do it.
Oh yeah. Yep, we do. We're always on the hunt. We actually, so our first sale was December 1st of 2020. That was our very first sale. And our goal for that month was to sell $1,000. We would be happy with $1,000. We didn't know what Q4 was. We didn't know anything, but we ended that month with selling 2,000, and we were super happy. Like $2,000, yes, like
double what we wanted.
This works. Yeah. Proof of concept. Your proof of concept month was December, right?
Yep. It was December, and we were super happy just to know that from what we sold, we were able to what is it? Our Amazon selling subscription, it didn't come out of our pocket, which was nice,
Right.
You
were covering your fees. You were making a net profit, that you were selling enough at a nice enough margin that you were covering all the fees. You were running a profitable business month one, basically, which is something to be excited about. We sometimes we see so many of these stories, we forget that the vast majority of businesses start and hope that by year 3 they can turn a profit. That's how most businesses go, and it's just not the case with this. I mean, month 1, you're like, hey, we paid for everything. We're actually putting money in the bank here. This is great, and a scalable business. Yeah, so that's fantastic. Yeah. So how'd it go from there?
And then from there, it just, we steadily just sell more and more, not at, like leaps and bounds, like some sellers, like they just take off running out of the gates. They pass the moon, but we're steadily climbing every single month, which is great. We're happy with that because we're super busy, and this just fits in with what we do. Like, if it wasn't for Amazon, I wouldn't be able to work because we have 4 kids that are in every single different direction,
Sure. So, we'll talk us through that just a little bit. When you say, this fits and you couldn't work otherwise, talk me through the reality. Like in a week, how does Amazon fit into your schedule? What else are you squeezing in there? 4 kids. I mean, obviously we all know what that means, but just talk us through a little bit, your guys' routine schedule and how this fits in the cracks.
Yep. So 4 kids, ranging from 10 years old to 17, and 4 kids, 4 different schools.
There's activities, the dances and the sports.
Aerial silks, and, so I'm either dropping off kids at school, picking up kids from school, taking them to this activity and that activity, and grocery shopping. And while I'm grocery shopping, I'm REPLENS shopping at the same time. I just double tap it, and it just gives me the flexibility to stay at home with the kids, take care of everything that they need, be very present and active in their life, and be able to work at the same time, which is so good,
Yeah, and if she needs to drop what she's doing right there to grab a kid that maybe hadn't previously figured out a ride home from an activity or after school stuff or anything, it's nice because she doesn't have to report to an employer or anything. She does what she does. She can drop it and she can walk, jump in the car and go pick a kid up.
Yeah. Yeah. And our family is just, that's all our kids have ever known, is that extreme flexibility. Like they have no idea, I think sometimes, how the rest of the world really works. It's like, I got no option. I'm out of here by 6:30 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not going to be back till 8 tonight, most days of the week. I mean, a lot of families, and God bless them doing what you got to do to pay the bills and to provide for your family. I'm not knocking it by any means, but what a huge blessing it is to have this kind of schedule you guys described where, okay, I've got half an hour. I'm going to squeeze something in here. Oh, wait, that half hour just got killed because I got to go do something else that just popped up. Okay, I'll get back to it later. But you build your business with the time that you have. And I like that image of kind of squeezing. This is a business that you squeeze into the cracks of your life where you can. You do what you can when you can. And at the pace that you're able to give it, you'll see the rewards over time. And you guys are busy. You've got a lot going on, but you've been able to squeeze a business into those parts of your life where you've got a little bit of margin. And that's fantastic. So Kelton, you work full time, if I recall, correct?
That's correct. Right. So like I kind of, I loaned, I guess, quote unquote, loaned the business a little bit here and a little bit there to get it started. And then after a while, it was like, okay, my paycheck can go to, bills, or it can go to food for the family or whatever. And then the business took its own legs, and now it kind of, it grew pretty fast. And I guess it just kind of launched after very little investment on my part, a couple $100 to get it started, and then flip that money back into the business and flip it in. And she wasn't working me. I mean, obviously, besides being a full-time mom. So this is something that she can say, like, hey, I'm also contributing and I'm building this thing for when I retire, and then maybe I can, if she'll have me, I'll work for her.
Yeah, well, she'll take your application, I'm sure, at least consider. That's fantastic. So is that something that's on the horizon? Is there a plan for you guys to do this together at some point in the future? Have you talked about that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I help out as much as I can. I mean, she does the bulk of the research along with our virtual assistant. And then she goes and picks the products and stuff up. And then we're actually sitting in our fairly new office. We went from about 150 square foot office, and we were stepping over each other trying to package things. And we went to about 1,000 square foot office. And so that helps out quite a bit.
Are you at your home then? You just switched rooms?
We went from like almost a small size bedroom to the entire basement. It's a 3-level home. And so, bedrooms are on a level, kitchen's on a level. And then we've got this big basement, which was an entertainment center, kind of theater. And we took it over.
Now it's headquarters, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome, guys.
Because they say that you'll grow into the size that you're in, Yeah. So,
You'll fill it.
Yeah, you'll fill it. You put in more shelves, so you're going to stock those shelves. So, hey, let's fill it.
That's awesome. I love being able to kind of see, that this is the real world. You got some boxes, some shelves back there, and you still got the same entertainment couch that you had before, but it doesn't get used. But it's like probably a work table now, right?
We put boxes on it.
As boxes get filled to send to Amazon, that's our stacker.
Yeah, you cleaned it off to make it look good for the podcast, but we all know. No, that's great, guys. You've got quite a routine, and you're on a great trajectory. And so let's talk some numbers. You gave us some of your early numbers. What is the business looking like now? We're a year and a half into the journey after ramping into it. Mm-hmm. You're squeezing it into the cracks. How many hours total are you putting into this, and kind of where are you sitting now?
Yeah, I would say, I've never really done the math, but I have kind of thought about like, how much time do I actually put into it? Because it's a little here, a little there. I'll go out shopping for about 6 hours, but I want to say roughly between the two of us, because he's always helping me package and prep and box up the shipments, but I want to say anywhere from 18 to 22 hours a week, I would say.
Between the two of you. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And you're squeezing life in the middle. Like, I'll go to the grocery store. My wife will send me on an errand that should take 20 minutes, but it takes an hour because I'll grab several of our REPLENS while I'm there, right? So like, was that an hour of work? Not really, kind of.
Yeah.
You're squeezing it into the cracks. But yeah, I'm with you about 18, 20, 22 hours or so. Okay.
Yeah. Yep, always taking pictures. I cannot go into a store without taking pictures. My
Same
phone
here.
is bombarded with like 10,000 product pictures. It's absolutely insane.
It's funny when you're flipping through family photos to find something. People are like, why do you have pictures of the dog food aisle, like 18 pictures on your phone? Why do you have pictures of cleaning products? Yeah.
Yep.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I would say about that much, time we put into it. And, once we hired our VA through the proven REPLENS VA, that definitely helped with my time. It saved me so much time looking for new REPLENS and that kind of stuff. So I could put that time in other areas of the business, learning different things or just whatever it may be, out shopping a little bit more, whatever. But
Now,
yeah.
how long have you had that VA? I wasn't aware you guys had hired one from us.
Yep. So we got with Kyle Curtis, I think it was in February.
Mm-hmm.
It was February, and got a VA, and we had our first VA, and it didn't work out so well with our first VA. I think there was a pretty good communication barrier between the two of us. We would ask him to, just
research in certain places or certain not items, I guess categories and that.
Yeah. And he would always say like, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. But it just never happened. So about after a month, we kind of figured out, I don't think he's understanding very much, And so we got with Kyle, and he is so great to work with.
Yeah, that program's awesome.
It is amazing. I wish we would have done it sooner, but I think we did it at the right time because we're not huge, we're not huge sellers, but man, that program has saved us so much. And he found an awesome VA for us, and we love her.
Yeah, she's great.
Like, we love her. She's amazing.
She sent us, she's in the Philippines, and she sent us recipes like, hey, here's like one of our family favorites. And
really? Yeah. Oh, that's so great.
Some Filipino dishes. And
very respectful. And she does a really good job. If we want to go a specific route, she'll go down whatever rabbit hole that we tell her to. And when we feel like, okay, well, maybe on our end, maybe that wasn't such a good idea to send her down there. Let's reroute or, and she's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And you're paying her, I'm assuming $3-4 an hour, right?
Yeah, we pay her $4 an hour. She works 5 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 days a week, it's money well spent.
That, and for those who haven't heard us talk about this topic before on this show, that's life-changing income. That, $3, $4 an hour spends like about $25 to $35 in the Philippines locally. So it's an incredible opportunity for and what we do with the PRV program, the Proven REPLENS VA. We'll stick a link in the show notes. We find locals who are willing in the Philippines, who are willing to work for $4 an hour and be trained on our systems and work for only one seller. So we train them, we vet them, we get them up to speed, we test them, and then we turn them over to sellers like you guys. And I love the transparency that, hey, the first guy you had, there were some communication issues. Maybe he need a little more training. Maybe he didn't quite have a grasp of English as well as he should have, or we thought he did. So, he's back in training now, I would imagine. And at some point he'll be assigned to someone else. But that's the process. That's the system. We train them for you, find them, and then they work only for you. Like, we have no idea what ASINs your virtual assistant is finding for you.
Yeah.
They work for you now. You guys paid the fee to have us find, vet, train them. And now she works just for you guys. So how many ASINs is she finding for you? How's it going? It sounds like you guys considered it a good investment at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. She consistently every day, I would say she sends us about anywhere from 5 to 8 ASINs. But, I go through the ASINs that she sends every morning when I get up, and I would say at least 80% of them we test on. She is so detail oriented, just very detail oriented, things that I probably would have missed before, in product packaging or the sizing. She is on it. She's very good as far as that goes. And she just wants to work. She sent us a message this morning, actually, just being so appreciative, because she has 2 kids and a husband and stuff, but she's just so thankful for the opportunity to work because she gets to stay at home with her kids, which is very relatable to me. I totally understand that.
Right. But it's an incredible opportunity to think for.
And she gets to make a really good living.
Yeah.
What was that?
Just for a few dollars per hour, you're completely changing that family's life.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're making a kind, generous donation to some good cause, which is beautiful. I love charity. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about a business where now you guys are building something. And as it grows, those few hours a week are going to turn into more hours. And, this could be a year from now. She's in charge of your sourcing team in the Philippines, and she has 5 people that report to her.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the trajectory of this thing.
Yeah.
It's just opportunity leads to more opportunity. And now you guys are building something truly significant. And I love the relational aspect that you guys pointed that out, because just culturally, you can't I don't want to paint with too broad a stroke here, but culturally, Filipinos in general love working for American-based companies. And in general, they speak English well. And in general, they've just got an incredible work ethic and make great employees, even if we were paying a $15 or $20 an hour. But $4 an hour is a lot of money in their economy. That's what makes it such a great fit, is you guys can kind of wade into it slowly, part-time. And those few dollars you're paying her makes a significant difference in your life and in hers. It's a beautiful arrangement. And we've got hundreds of those stories now. It's just, it's a really cool dynamic that we're tapping into with that. So I'm glad we spent some time on that. I didn't realize you guys had done that. That's
huge time saver.
Yeah, we're very thankful for that, for sure. Definitely very thankful.
Well, what other parts of your story? Oh, and we didn't talk numbers either. We kind of drifted away from that. If you don't mind sharing. And I don't, one of the things I like to point out too, as we dive into that, you guys, before we hit record today, like, we're not very big. We've heard some people, they take off and they're hitting $bazillion in a month and all that. Like, that's not everybody's story. Certainly wasn't mine. Right.
Yeah.
So I like these real stories that encourage people, like, you can go from point A to point B. Point B may not be everybody's point B, but your trajectory is of much more interest to me than how fast you get out of the gate. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
Another way to think of it. So you take the trajectory of what you guys have done in the time that you've been doing this, and you play it out over 2 or 5 years. You're somewhere pretty amazing. And you've just been kind of squeezing it into the spare time cracks of your life.
Yep. Yeah. So, I believe, 2021, that was our very first full year that we were in business, because, December. And we ended the year with selling 108,000 for that full year. And then last month was our highest month to date, and it was almost 19,000. So, and we were really happy about that, That's
awesome. What's your net margin on that 19?
Yep. So our net margin is 25%.
Pretty typical.
And then our average ROI is 87% as of right now.
Phenomenal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's with including, paying our VA. And we also have the campaign that we do on Amazon. What is it, like the PPC?
Yeah, the nickel.
Yeah.
Campaign. Yeah, we don't have to dive into those weeds, but yeah, the brief description there is you run a pay-per-click ad for everything you sell, and you'll spend $2 or $3 a day on, at the most, typically. Mm-hmm. But it just juices your listings a little bit. When you have the buy box, you got an ad that pops up, and buyers are a little more likely to click on your stuff. It's one of the things we train in the REPLENS training. But yeah, so you're counting all those expenses in, and you're still at a 25% net.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So I think we're doing okay.
Oh, no, that's phenomenal. Yeah. That's a great side business. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're pushing, I don't know, just quick math, $70, $80 an hour net, right? If I'm doing my math right. So, I mean, that's not bad at all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's a pretty good side gig.
It is. Stay at home with the kids, and when you want to work, because I love working, but I mean, it's a great deal. It's a great setup for sure.
Man, that's awesome. Well, congratulations, guys. You're on a beautiful track, and you've got something pretty special you're building, and bright future as well.
Yep.
Hey, we'll get back to the show in just a second, but I want to tell you about the repricer that we use for my account, and many of the leaders on our team use as well. It's Be Cool. You can power up your Replen business and ramp up your Amazon sales with Be Cool's latest brand new conditional repricer. It has artificial intelligence, machine learning built in. You can auto switch between many different artificial intelligence repricing rules like inventory levels or sales velocity, profit margin, countless other conditions. Mix and match different conditions up to hundreds of customized combinations that allow you to have a very distinct strategy that gives you a unique edge. The possibilities are endless with Be Cool's Amazon repricer. Here's the deal. Sign up with our exclusive link for listeners of this show at silentgym.com/repricer. That's silentgym.com/repricer. To be eligible for a 30-day free trial, no credit card is required. For more information, go to Be Cool's page, silentgym.com/repricer. Check it out. Hey, let's get back to the show. Man, that's awesome. Well, congratulations, guys. You're on a beautiful track, and you've got something pretty special you're building, and bright future as well.
Yeah.
So where do you want to go with this conversation? Anything else we haven't hit? Anything else you'd like to share? To kind of put the ball in your court. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I would say we do have a coach too. Last year when we went to the Proven Conference out in Florida, we wind up signing up for a coach. And I think a lot of people have this, they think, the coaching office, like they just like every other seller, out there just wants to, track them down and, get them to sign up. But we actually had to track your guys' people down to sign up while we were at the Proven Conference, and it was great. We have a coach and
very low pressure. The conference, which we're going to again this year in August, because it's just good people and it's a great community to hang out with. But the conference was just fun, and we met so many good people there, which we still can stay in communication with. Mm-hmm. But we did have specific things that we wanted to accomplish while we were at the conference, and then coaching was the big one. We knew that we were at that point where it's like, we kind of feel like we've hit a steady line. What's the thing that's going to help us get up to the next level and get up to the next level?
Yeah.
So I think you brought up two great subjects that I love talking about: our coaching program and our upcoming conference. So you guys are going to be there in Louisville, August 12th through 14th, theprovenconference.com for people who don't have tickets yet. So you guys have your tickets? You're all set?
Yep. We have our tickets, our flights, the room.
Nice. At the hotel, at the host hotel. Beautiful. Yeah, it's going to be a tremendous event. Hundreds of people, listeners to this podcast, and successful students and coaches from our team. And it's going to, and newbies are welcome. It's typically 30-40% of the people at our events are brand new. First event they've ever been to. So we welcome them and they feel right at home. Last year was your first event, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe talk to those people who are considering, like, I don't know, I'd be new. What's it like? I hear it's a family reunion. Am I going to be kind of on the outside? Talk me through that a little bit. That's a question I don't get to ask that often. How did you guys feel warmly received, and what do you think of the group? Your first impression?
Oh, absolutely. It was great. So, during one of the classes and some presentations that people were given, there was time to break out and go eat. And we were actually approached by one of the coach. She wasn't a coach at the time, but I think, she's a coach now. Mm-hmm. And she came up to us and we got talking to her and we're like, let's go eat. And just one of the most welcoming people, smart as all heck. And she knows she knows a lot about the business, and very welcoming crowd. And that's one thing that I think we try and do with our business is maintain that, being part of that 1% that, like, say the group is 70,000 strong that listen to the podcast, and what are the 1%ers doing? Well, 1% of that group may go to a conference, and 1% of that group may get coaching, and what's the next 1% doing? Well, they're networking with these individuals at the conferences, and
Man, that's good.
How can we jump up that ladder just a little bit and improve our business?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Because I often think of our community as kind of like a bullseye, a target with the red center and the different layers going out, and you got the people who kind of pop in and pop out, and we love serving them, and there's huge benefits to that. But there's never a really true center of the target. It just the group kind of, you get more and more exclusive, and then there's relationships within that tight inner circle. Even within that tight inner circle of the 100 of us that kind of run things around here, there's some I know really well and others I don't know that well yet. New coaches I've only interacted with a couple times, for example. There's always room to explore that next level of relationship and kind of getting into the core of this group. For some reason, I'm reminded of that, of an example, with the predator comes after a herd of sheep, and you're like, the sheep all try to get in the middle. It's like, that's where you want to be. You don't want to be one of those sheep that's out there drifting around the edges, and get it always. But the group's always changing, but you're always kind of trying to get in the middle. Okay, what's happening? Where's the action? And getting into coaching, getting into the community that way, or going to a live event. That's a great word picture. Is get in there with what the top 10% or even 1% are doing. What are they doing? Good analogy. I like that. Thanks, Kelton.
Yeah, we're always thinking about that, like, how can we make ourselves better? What more can we do? What is one little thing that we could do that would make us be better for tomorrow or next month or next year, And at the conference last year, we met so many amazing people, like just so many amazing people. And this year, we're actually going to go to the conference, I think, what is it, like 2 days early?
Yeah.
We're going to be at the conference a couple days early because last year, when we flew in, the airport lost our luggage. So they lost our luggage. We didn't have anything. We didn't even have our cell phone chargers, clothes, toothbrush, toothpaste, nothing. No makeup.
Vaguely remember that. Did we talk about that?
Yeah.
I think we did at the conference.
I remember you guys now. Yeah. Okay.
So, and we really did look like some homeless people.
Our travel clothes still on.
We got rained on outside, and we're in the motel room with the blow dryer blow drying our clothes. It was a riot.
You had to be like, did we make a right decision doing this? Because it just doesn't seem to be going well so far. So I'm glad we turned it around for you, it sounds like.
Yeah.
We still went to the classes and everything, and everybody was still welcoming, even though we didn't feel amazing. I think actually the first day we were there, we ran into Oscar, and my wife was like, I don't want to go see him. I can't see him like this. And I was like, there may not come another chance. Like, let's do this, old clothes and everything.
Yeah. And he was so great.
Yeah, well, he's the right guy, man. He'd run up and hug a homeless guy on the street and talk to him for hours. He's just got the biggest heart, But yeah, what an incredible community. I'm glad we warmly welcomed you guys in, even when you were kind of wet and didn't have your luggage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was funny.
So you're coming in a couple of days early, which is smart. There's actually a good tip there. A lot of people come in a day or two early, stay a day or two later at the host hotel, and it's the stuff that happens outside of the events where there's chairs in the room. Those out in the hallway and the dinner tables, and taking a walk around downtown Louisville and a beautiful bridge nearby. Take a group and go sightseeing. It's that kind of stuff where you just really start to get into the full benefit of this community and the quality of the people that have been attracted into the core of what this group is about. So that's exciting. I'm glad we got to spend some time on that. I had no idea you guys were coming to the event. And I think I did see that you guys had received a coach. However, I wouldn't mind hearing a little bit more about how that's going, how that's served you, and what benefits you've received from that. just, tell it to us straight. We know your first virtual assistant didn't quite work out. How are we doing as far as coaching goes? What kind of impact has that had on you guys?
Oh man, our coach. So we have Allison Morgan and her assistant. So we kind of get like 2 for 1.
Doubled up. Yep.
Yeah,
They'll be
which
at the
is
event.
cool. Yeah, yep, they will. We're excited. We cannot wait. But yeah, she has been so amazing because so I'm a planner. Like I have my planner out every single day. I write down things that I need to do, whether it's, wife duties, mom duties, business duties, whatever it may be. But when we got into coaching, I think one of the biggest things that I personally took away is okay, I was really good about writing down in my planner what I needed to do for the next day. But she wanted to see, what are you going to do for the whole week? Like, try to plan your week, And it really resonated with me because Kelton would always tell me, you need to put that boulder into the river. Like, put your boulders into the river and let all of the little things like flow through, And once I started doing that, planning out my week, what days I was going to shop, what days I was going to source, what days I was going to prep and get our shipment boxed up and send out our shipments, everything just kind of like went into place. It's so much easier having a plan because I feel like if you have a plan and you write it down on paper, you're obligated. Like you have to get it done. And there's been so many weeks where I've been sick or he's gone working for the weekend or whatever it may be. We have a birthday party or whatever. Like, I know Monday morning I have to get that shipment out. So whatever it takes, it will get done.
Yeah, Sunday, package it up and Monday, get it on the road. And that's another thing is that consistency that they helped us with is, once you've got a good solid schedule and you can say, we plan to have a shipment out at least every week by Monday morning. We've been very consistent with that and seen our graphs on the Amazon app just grow each month. And they almost look like stairs right now. They look like stairs going up because each week we are very consistent with that at least weekly shipment.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And there's all kinds of benefits to coaching besides just, hey, here's a strategy. Hey, here's a tip, a tactic. A lot of that's in the course, but that accountability, that shining some lights on the habits and, we've coached at this point 7,000 students, which blows my mind that we've had that many. So we've learned a lot after having done it the wrong way. Enough times you start to learn how to do it the right way. And we've got a pretty incredible team of leaders. I love hearing some feedback on Allison and how you guys are working through that. And it sounds like it was more than just, hey, here's an Amazon trick. It was more, hey, let's dive into the way that you're structuring your week and your habits and journaling, writing things down. And I love that big rocks analogy too, Kelton. I haven't talked about that in a long time, but that old analogy with you've probably heard this or seen it. You get the cylinder that you fill with rocks. Have you seen that? You know what I'm talking about? You get the sand and the little pebbles and the big rocks. So the way it's demonstrated is you get this cylinder that's perfectly full of combination of big rocks, little rocks, and sand. And it's full to the top and you dump it on the table. It's like a challenge for a group. Like, hey, put it all back into the bottle. Who thinks they could do it? And it's virtually impossible to do unless you know the secret, which is big rocks first, right?
Yeah.
Big rocks stacked neatly and perfectly first. And then you shake in the little rocks and let them all settle into place. And then you pour in the sand and let that settle into place last. And you get it all in there. If you try to do it any other way, it's not going to work. So yeah, just those kind of analogies that help us start to shape through the way we process our business, our personal life, even our week. Like, have I hit the big rocks today? What are the big rocks? What are the big rocks for this week, for this month? And where do those fit? Figure that out first. That's so good. That's so good. Yeah, I love the randomness of this episode. We're hitting a lot of really cool topics. This is great.
Probably that's just like,
that's our life.
Take it off.
No, hey, I got 5 kids. I know I can do random all day. I can do random all day. We can jump anywhere you want to jump and we'll just bounce around. And I think we've painted a pretty nice picture for folks who are thinking, hey, does this fit into my life? Could our family do this? Is this Do I have to be, have a business degree, or do I have to be super motivated or super disciplined? Hey, these are just real people doing the business, right? You guys are doing this. You've figured it out. So what is your goal? Let's talk maybe about that. Like, as you guys project out a little bit, where would you like to be? Give us some dates, some times. Are you goal people? I'm not much of a
Yeah.
writing goals on paper, but you guys struck me as like you've kind of put some thought into that. What do you guys
Yeah.
have?
Yeah, we do definitely. As far as, like, yeah, we kind of are goal people. I guess you could take it away.
Yeah, we've got, we have whiteboards all over our house. Yeah. We've got one down here that tracks, expenses and what we need to get to the CPA. And we've got a whiteboard in our bedroom. And that's kind of where it started, was like with that whiteboard, it just says, at the top of it, it says the process. And so we've, put on there like, okay, we want to end a month at 5,000. And so when that $5,000 in sales, when that goal was gone, it got wiped off, and we said, okay, 10,000 for this month, and that got wiped off. And so we're always to have some type of target to aim at. And then when we do that, because we know we're going to do that, that's our focus, is getting to that point. It'll just get wiped off, and the next one will get put up.
Yeah. And then I think, long-term goals, the biggest reason, I think, in the beginning when we first started selling on Amazon, I was just bored, kind of. You're a housewife and a mom, and you kind of lose yourself a little bit. Like, what am I doing with myself, So I started selling, and which is amazing. Like, I love selling on Amazon. And, this isn't just for Amazon. Really, if you get the pack, there's a million different directions that you can go. Amazon isn't going to be around forever, and we do realize that. But I don't think I would rather be with any other group of people to pivot with than, silent sales machine people. Like, our people that we've built relationships with, because I know at some point we will need to pivot, because that's life, right?
Yeah.
And
that's a powerful observation, Tambra. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I love everybody, like, we have so many like friends and relationships that we have built along the way. And it's incredible how much other people help. And if we could do the same for other people, give back in some small way. But I would not want to be with any other community in this whole world, like, this is our home, like, this is where we belong, but I think
that's amazing. Well, and you bring up, there's several different directions I would love to go, and just saying off of what you just said, but I think I just kind of want to let it sit. Like, that's a great observation, because I've felt the same way for 20 years now. And when someone kind of starts feeling that same way about this community, I know that we've got them in the middle of the bullseye. Because there's going to be changes. There's going to be things that come. There's going to be surprises. There's going to be disappointments. There's going to be all kinds of, the only thing we know for sure is change is coming. Mm-hmm. Now, this is as stable as it gets. I'm very bullish about the future of this particular business opportunity. That's the reason we teach it. But we went fully all in with eBay up until about 12 years ago. That's all we talked about. And this became the great thing. And we pivoted as a community, thousands of us, and we started exploring, hey, what works here? Let's get into this. And I've learned that my leadership journey, to go off what you just said, has been, as long as you've got the relationships and the culture, you're going to be fine. Techniques come and go. Strategies come and go. Websites come and go. Yeah. The culture, that's vital. The relationships inside that culture, that's vital. And even I'll share this. You might appreciate this, Tambra, based on what you just said. I read a book, and I don't know if you've heard me talk about this episode. You've mentioned it you've listened to several podcast episodes. So at some point or another, I've mentioned this before, I believe, a couple times maybe, but I read a book about the difference between cities and businesses, where cities tend to last for hundreds or thousands of years, businesses last for, a few months or a few years. It's rare they last 100 years or more. Why is that? Why is it a city just lasts and lasts and lasts, and a business kind of slowly over time tends to fizzle into nothing? Have you heard me talk about that before?
You know what? I haven't. I think that's probably one of the one things that I haven't heard you mention. No.
Okay, that's great. Well, so hopefully for the listeners too, they enjoy this as well. But basically, and the author asked the question but didn't answer it. But I thought it was a great question, so I've contemplated it, and I think the city develops a kind of a culture. There's no real one person that's like, yeah, this is the person of that city. Whereas a business relies on a leader. And if that leader gets really weird or does something really stupid, or tide turns in that industry, but the culture around a community, specific location or a specific way of just kind of doing things, like Portland is weird. Indianapolis, where I live, it's amateur sports. You get city, they get this personality, and it just, no matter who the mayor is, no matter who the leaders are, it just kind of has that personality. And I want that for this group it's just a culture of people doing business and life together, supporting each other. Now you're going to have to work your tail off to get into leadership. You got to have something proven that works before you get on stage. But those are kind of the ground rules. And if you vibe with that, yeah, you're going to meet some great people. Business builders and business owners are some of the most incredible people in the world because of what it takes to do it right. So, man,
Yeah.
I love that observation. Though, thank you for saying that. I don't think I've ever had a guest point that out before or say it. That really touches a significant part of what I'm trying to usher here as best I can. It's like herding cats. Business owners want to do things the way they want to do things. I can't make anybody do anything, but we can build a culture of acceptance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel it, from the very beginning when we started with Amazon. I was like, man, I am home. Like, it's weird, but
It's
Mhm.
really been good.
yeah, it's been
But
really,
we make the observation we've done these live events several times, and a lot of times people say, and I wasn't the only one that made this observation. I kind of had it in my own head till I started hearing other people say it. But things like, man, if this was a church, you couldn't drag me away from that place. We all come from all over the world, and we kind of gather once a year. But like, if we could do this every week, and this was the church that I belong to, like, that would be amazing,
yeah.
right?
There is
Uh,
no way that we'll ever miss a proven conference, unless, we physically cannot get there. But yeah, we
wow.
went last year, and there is no way we would ever. And we tell people that all the time, like, you have to go to the conference. You have to go to the conference. Like, it's just, you get so much out of it. You can't even just, explain what it does to you and for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see if this resonates with you. And I didn't intend for us to spend this much time talking about the conference, but I think what we're hitting on as a group, it's certainly like no one's going to the event saying, I can't wait to hear what Jim says day one. Like, I hope they aren't, because they're going to be very disappointed. I'm kind of like, it's announcements, and then we kind of all hang out for a few days, right? It's not that, I'm no Tony Robbins for sure. But I think what we've got is a culture of people they're succeeding in business, and that special set of things that it takes to do life right, to do family right. We're unapologetically biblically centered. And suddenly we find all these things that we're doing are very counterculture. Like, our culture isn't feeding us these things. There's not a lot of pro family, pro business, pro biblical value places you can go hang out right now. Right? So you get us all in the same place, and suddenly it's like, there are people doing life differently. There are really good quality people raising families. A lot of homeschool families in the mix, and a lot of people that just truly value family and relationships. And their favorite person on earth is their spouse. Like, it's hard to find a group of people that kind of are doing it that way. So not that we turn anyone away, but you get enough people kind of thinking that way. It's a very welcoming, warm culture. So yeah, thank you for saying those great things and kind things about the community. And I want to be a part of a group like that. If it
Right.
wasn't our group, I'd be going there.
Right. Yeah. And on that note, I cannot wait to see what your wife has to say at the conference because she is a riot. I love her. She is amazing. So
she is constant entertainment, and she challenges me and makes the most brilliant observations. For someone who says she has no business interest whatsoever, she truly is. And her session's always one of the favorite. And she could care less about Amazon.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. This happened like 24 hours ago from right now. Yesterday, I was recording a different podcast episode with a guest, and I'm facing my window right here. So she got a new bird bath for Mother's Day, and it's 15 feet on the other side of my computer monitor right here. I can see it. And she's dragging the hose out to fill that bird bath. And it's one of those hoses with a handle on it. You squeeze the handle and it sprays. Well, she's dragging it with the handle, with the nozzle facing her. And she's just giving a good tug. And you know what's coming. Like, she squeezed that handle and she didn't know what was happening for a second. I mean, this is happening like 8 feet on the other side of my monitor out my window here. And she didn't know I saw her. I was just like trying my best to control myself and explain what I just seen to the guest, but it was so great. And she's like, and she came up to my window afterwards while I'm still on the air. She's like, "Did you see that?" She's talking to me through my window. I'm like, "Yeah, I saw." Oh, she's a riot, though.
Right? She
is a riot. She just soaked herself, man. It was so great. But yeah, raising the 4 boys and our little girl Avon here, and just getting to do life together with them around me. And she's so wise, for sure. And I'm not exaggerating when I say her session. And she doesn't talk about business. She talks about what it's like to do family and business and mix it all together. What are the dynamics? And she's a riot, for sure. But her session is consistently ranked as the highest reviewed session of the event. And spouses are welcome if they're there with you and it's your non-businessy spouse. They all are welcome to go to her session. And yeah, the reviews always come back. And I'm the only one who's never been to her session. She won't let me in there. She's like, "No, I want to talk about you and I don't want you in there." And it's not recorded either.
That's awesome. I'm going to have to check out her session this year. I didn't go to it last year, but yeah, I need to be there.
Yeah. It's always unpredictable, for sure. But yeah. Well, it's been great hanging out with you guys. Was there anything that we didn't hit that you wanted to hit? Anything else on your list as we start to wrap this one up? I had a lot of fun hanging out. I almost forgot that it's a podcast episode. I'm just kind of hanging out with some great people from our community and recording it as we go. But what else is on your mind, if anything?
Well, I think on my end, I like how earlier you brought up, would I have to have a business degree to start something like this, or to even qualify for Amazon? And the cool thing is, what I like being part of the community and having access to the pack and everything through that stuff, I feel like we are getting an education, and at the same time, we're building a business that is paying us from day one. So rather than go get a specific degree in business or something like that and sit all day in a college, in like a classroom, I feel like through all these things that we've learned and the community and like-minded people, we're getting an education right now, but at the same time, building something.
That's fantastic. Yes, I love that observation. I don't know if you've heard me mention the book I've been working on forever, all the things I had to unlearn from my business degree to actually build a successful business.
Yeah. You need to get that put out, man.
Virtually everything they taught me. Now, I had some good props. I made some good friends. I learned some basics, of course, that are applicable. But so many of the lessons that are kind of between the cracks of my business education, that was such terrible advice. And one of them is you just hit on, Kelton, is you don't try to just raise a bunch of money and then pour it in there and hope that someday it all works out. You can do it that way. That's the way business has always traditionally been done. Don't hold it against anybody for having the impression that that's what business is. But how about we take advantage of this just-in-time learning that we have available to us now and actually make some money as we go and scale up slow. And at no point are you writing a big check. I'm fond of saying now, if you're writing big checks and hoping it works out later, you're doing it wrong. Because you can test small, build small, slow and steady in the right direction. And if you look over your shoulder suddenly and you're selling 20,000 a month and then 50 and then 100 and you're building a team. And at no point did you have to take a huge risk. It's just not necessary. And that's a great business education, right? That's not taught anywhere that I know of. It is around here. We do have some colleges actually that use our curriculum now, which is pretty incredible. I love that. Some entrepreneurship programs.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's good to know that that's getting out into the public and
Mhm.
something of use is getting into the schools.
Yeah, I saw the undertone there. We're not going to go there, although I would love to. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason we homeschooled. Nothing against great schools, but
Yeah.
it's hard to find a better teacher from our perspective. My wife graduated top of her class, very smart, academically a high achiever, and like find me a better teacher than her for my kids. And if we're able to do it, let's do it. Right? That was kind of our thought process. It wasn't any anti anything. It was more pro. And let's keep the kids with their mom. She's smart, and she did a
Yeah.
great job, and they did too. They benefited, but
Yeah.
well. Beautiful, guys. Great conversation. Anything else? Every time I say that, you guys come up with another golden gem.
We could do this all day.
Might make it a two-part.
I had a question. So I know you're, a reader, you love to read, and my husband, he's the same way. I read very little as far as books goes, just because I feel like I'm pretty busy. But I listen to a lot of podcasts, like whether I'm driving or cooking dinner, cleaning, whatever it is, I'm always listening to a podcast. But, I think I've re-listened to most of your podcasts at least 2 times.
No way.
Most of them. I mean, I would say like episode 21, I think is probably one of my favorite ones.
I don't even remember. What was that?
I'll tell you. So it's about, is selling on Amazon or any other platform really, like, is it like ethically and morally okay, and
buying low, selling high. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hit some of the basics in some of those early episodes. Yeah, because some people thought, is this even ethical to buy something low and sell high? So you found that useful. Awesome.
Yeah, super useful, because I struggled with that for a minute, like, I kind of feel bad, like taking things off of the shelf when people could be buying it, but honestly, most of the time, like I have to wipe off the dust off of the products before we send them in. So I don't feel too bad anymore. But if anybody struggles with that, I'll listen to episode 21. And I would also have to say, go back and listen to your beginning recordings of Silent Sales Machine, because there are some great advice in there. Like, these later ones are really good, but man, go all the way to the beginning, because there's some gold.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had no idea where this podcast was going to go, so I kind of tried to lay a foundation of what's this podcast and this community all about, and now we're just kind of showing the fruit. We're kind of showing off the fruit. We planted seeds in the orchard in those early episodes. I'm like, all right, let's see what grows of this. Well, now we're walking through the orchard, picking the oranges off the trees, right? And like, hey, look, it works. And that's more our philosophy now. But I do truly enjoy that. And I think the question you were kind of leading to, not to jump the gun, but like, are there any other books that I would suggest that you maybe dive into that would be along those veins? Is that kind of where you were going? Because
or like podcasts,
Yeah. Well, my favorite podcast
what
is
do you
Daniel
listen
Lappin.
to?
Daniel Lappin.
Okay, so I have his.
Yep, I don't miss an episode, and a lot of his content as well. And I'm sure we'll have him in an event again. He's the keynote presentation that he did. It was actually on September 11th for one of our events in Illinois 3 years ago, approximately now. One of the greatest presentations, any keynote speaker, any other speaker, just phenomenal. And he came out, you thought he was going to talk about 9/11, our United States 2001 9/11. No, he was talking about the original 9/11, and he built business lessons into it in such an intriguing, fascinating way. I still remember the bullet points of what he wanted us to do as a result of. Very practical, very, very emotional, very entertaining, funny. He just did such a great job. He's one of my favorite speakers and my favorite living author. So yeah, his podcast and his resources, I can't recommend enough. It's been very influential. The Business Secrets from the Bible book is my favorite book outside the Bible itself, especially for anyone with entrepreneurial aspirations. And, one of the basic lessons that it pounded into me, for example, and it's not natural. Most people are resistant, especially introverts who are attracted to e-commerce. It's not natural for us, but we need to learn to use our voice, to step out into leadership, to build relationships, how to do it intentionally and frequently It's all throughout that book, and along with a bunch of other practical lessons. But I can't recommend that strongly enough. Rather than like, hey, here's podcast with the latest events kind of stuff. I don't spend as much time with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's more the timeless stuff, the stuff that was true 10 years ago and will still be true 20 years from now. That's more valuable, and from a very practical standpoint, that's more valuable to my business than, hey, guess what's happened in the news with crypto right now? That'll all be different next week, right? What did Elon do yesterday? Like those podcasts, I'm just, it's entertainment, but it's kind of like, eating sugary cereal for breakfast. It's like, it doesn't really, it's like, it does the job. But yeah, so hopefully that helps you. I would dive deeper in. And like this morning on my run, I was listening to an old Zig Ziglar book from the 80s.
Okay.
Getting great ideas from it. Great ideas that are very applicable right now, because all the best ideas in business are stuff that's been around for thousands of years. There's nothing new there.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hopefully that helps you.
Yeah, no, it does.
And I could do a whole nother hour of ranting on that topic, but I gave you some good homework. When you go through and listen to business secrets from the Bible, that's going to open up a whole world for you. Just get the Audible of that. I would highly, highly suggest.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I have heard you mention it before. So
yeah. That and another personal favorite of mine is Robert Morris, The Blessed Life. Have you read that by any chance?
No.
I tell people frequently, if they want to get in my head, like see the world of business and how to integrate it into especially your faith if you're a Christian, or how to think like a business building Christian, which is what we do here. Read those two books. The Blessed Life by Robert Morris. That guy gave away every penny he had multiple times in his life, sold his house, sold his cars, emptied his bank account, gave it all away, and said, okay, what now, God? That whole thing about not being able to outgive God, I think I just did it. And God was like, shows up. Nope. Here's where we're going. Here's the next adventure. And just start all over. Like it truly is, a stewardship journey. None of this is mine. And if you can keep that message in your head at the same time as I'm going to aggressively build something as big and significant that I can give back to God someday as possible and enjoy the benefits of it until God asks for it back. It's such a great motivating message. Those two messages.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any book recommendations for me? You said, Kelton, you're a reader. You read anything good lately?
Yeah, I like anything by Ryan Holiday. The Obstacle is the Way. That's a big helper on our journey. Is something comes up and it's like, Amazon shut this specific thing down for whatever reason. Not necessarily our account, but like maybe we run into ASIN issues or dangerous good issues or something that we've got to do. And so that book, The Obstacle is the Way, kind of
that's a great book.
Shift what you're doing. Anything by Ryan Holiday I really like. What's the one that you just finished?
The Richest Man.
The Richest Man in Babylon is very good. That's actually helped us to that and e-commerce, the accounting book that we were reading.
Profit First.
First.
Yeah.
That kind of helped because what we were doing was we had a single account. And it was everything. It was business expenses, and it was, and the money just kept growing and growing in this one account. And so we finally got to the point where it's like, okay, pay our first. Coming from The Richest Man in Babylon, pay our first. And so we created sub accounts underneath that account, and now we've got a tax account. And now we've got actual money that belongs to us. And so the business, we can see visually that the business is spending money back out.
Yes. Great book recommendations. Books I've read all of those, loved all of them. Compound Effect is another one that I think you might enjoy. Have you read that one yet?
It's been a while, but I'll have to get back to it. I've got a closet that's just got all of my old books that I probably need to go and revisit them.
Sure. Yeah. A lot of times we find ourselves in a different stage of our business journey, and books become more relevant than they were when we first went through them, even, and we revisit, some of my favorites I've read multiple times. The Business Secrets from the Bible, I've probably read cover to cover at least 20 times, and I find new things every single time.
Yeah. I need to dig into that one because I do hear you talk about that a lot. So it would be nice.
And it's not Lapin. This is the Hebrew tradition of handling business and money. It's
I like
2,000-year-old longitudinal study. right? It's like, it's not him. This is stuff that culture is understood. It's been ingrained into them. And it's almost an unfair advantage. It really is.
Yeah, we need to get that one for sure.
I think you'd enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then the last one I'll throw out there, it's Thou Shalt Prosper, which Lappin actually wrote before Business Secrets from the Bible. The Business Secrets from the Bible one is a little easier to digest. Thou Shalt Prosper is more put it on your thinking cap a little bit, not too much.
Mm-hmm.
But he really lays out the beginning of that book is a really nice foundation for basically everything else he's ever written. So Thou Shalt Prosper is really solid. But
all right,
cool. Well, that's good. We've all given each other some homework here.
Yeah.
And you guys have had some, it's been a delight hanging out with you guys. I find myself sometimes, actually Zig Ziglar said this morning on the book I was listening to, and he recorded this a long time ago, but I so related to something he said, and I think it applies to a situation like where we're right now. He said, I so wish that there was some way that I could hang out with for a day the people that I'll never get to meet or hang out with more than just a few brief interactions, an awkward handshake at an event or something, like in a picture or something or an email. But these families, these real people that have built something based on something I learned and shared. And now we've got this really cool connection, but we'll never get a chance to fully explore and enjoy that because life is busy and the community's big and things happen. I so related to that. I could tell. I would love to hang out with you guys some more. And I have that feeling so often with the great folks that pop on this podcast. But it's been a pleasure hanging out with you the time we did have, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And we will see you in a couple months, and we'll track you down. Even if it's
please do. Please do. And I love you coming early this time. Bring extra luggage this time, right?
Yeah.
So you can help somebody else.
Everything.
If it's someone, surely inevitably someone's going to show up without their luggage and be panicked and can't get their room or whatever. And hey, we come prepared to help them out. So, all right. Well, hey, God bless you guys. I'm going to talk to the audience, the listeners for just a second. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with us. And I hope you, as much as I enjoyed this show, I hope you did as well. All the listeners, the business building warriors out there. Just a couple points of order before we wrap this one up. If you are enjoying this show, a couple things we would ask as favors to us, because we have a $0 marketing budget for the show. A couple things would be share it with somebody else. That'd be awesome. Go to iTunes and subscribe to the show. That's a huge help. Helps us bump up in the ranks and get noticed by people who may otherwise not notice us. We've got a very steadily growing audience. I saw, consistently, I'm looking at the statistics for the show, and in new countries around the world, some cases I couldn't even find them on a map, but they've ranked us in the top 5, the top 10, because you're sharing this show with other people, and it's all viral word of mouth. And we really appreciate that. So to my guests today, Kelton and Tambra, you guys were phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jim.
Yeah, it was a pleasure hanging out. And to all the business building warriors, we're in your corner. We're praying for you. We're here for you. Come be with us in Louisville, August 12th through 14th, 2022. theprovenconference.com. We really want you to be there. So we'll have another great episode for you again real soon. Hey, before I let you go, I want to remind you about our latest sponsor for the program, Be Cool. They're a repricer that will help you power up your Replen business and ramp up your Amazon sales with their latest conditional AI machine learning. That's artificial intelligence repricing. Auto switch between several different artificial intelligence repricing rules like inventory levels, sales velocity, units sold. There's several different, actually hundreds of different strategies that you can use, unique combinations that will give you a creative advantage over anyone else who's selling on the same ASINs that you are. You can get their special offer, which includes 30-day free trial, no credit card required. Incredible offer. Go to silentjim.com/repricer. Again, silentjim.com/repricer. Thanks for sponsoring the program, Be Cool. Go check out this offer.